How do's, you lovely little biatches, you? It's been a while. Where have I been? Well, distracted pretty much. But either way, today's update, well, I say update, is an update and some information and a special offer and some patch notes. So all in all, quite a lot to go over, and honestly, it's quite an interesting one this time, gotta be said. So starting off, the update for today is D&D improvements as well as the death rework. Dun dun dun. I'm sure many of you are probably freaking out over the death rework, but there's really not a lot to really worry about, so calm your titties. Starting off, so the ton of improvements with D&Ds is aimed at making it more accessible as well as more rewarding, and also the death rework is being built and tested inside the beta. Also, prismatic dies in SALMON store is now a thing, so yeah, quite nice, can't complain. So starting off, we got the D&D improvements. So D&Ds are short fun activities designed to give you a break from skill training while offering some unique rewards, apparently. So they're tweaking these a bit, starting off with good old Bork. So Bork has been added to the D&D tracker now, so you can always have a little look on there to see if you can actually do Bork for that day or if you've already done it. Also, the drops have been improved. Previously unlocked with the Varrock Armor 4 have been moved to the Varrock Armor 3, so you gain access to them a little bit quicker. Additionally, the Varrock Armor 4 will now offer you a daily teleport to Bork, so there's no reason not to go and poke him right in the fucking face. Bork, from what I can remember, drops chunk of charms, diamonds, no? Something along those lines, so being able to straight teleport there with the Varrock Armor 4 is quite a lot easier, although you do need to complete the Elite Varrock task, so there is that. And gaining the extra bonus rewards only requires the hard task to be complete now, so all in all, it's a little bit of an improvement. Next up is the Champions Challenge. XP and stats have been buffed. The fights can be repeated weekly for an XP reward. Losing the fight no longer locks the player out from the fight, and there's no need to get a new scroll. It's also been added to the D&D tracker, and it can now be completed within the EOC or Legacy mode. You will also gain a new title known as Champion of Champions for defeating all 15 champions, which is a trim comp rec if I remember rightly. Also, the deposit box is now actually a bank chest there, and scrolls can now be fed to a baby troll. And the lesser demon fight has also been tweaked. So next up, modifications to the court cases, another trim rec. Now allows rewards a mystery box. Now always rewards a mystery box, I should say. Fucking hell, learn to read, son. Mystery box rewards have been made more worthwhile, so it's actually worth something now. The XP reward has been changed to combat XP lamp, prayer and summoning is now included. A new title is also available for those who have completed all the cases, known as the Detective. It's no longer necessary to complete the tutorial to start receiving the cases as well, which is a very nice thing, because that I didn't even realise. Otherwise I would have had plenty of court cases done. For fuck's sake. So now you should start receiving some court summons, just randomly as you're doing stuff. All in all, win-win. Next up is the Evil Tree God. I don't remember the last time I did this. XP rates have been increased for the top 3 trees. It now turns into a bonfire post-event on which kindling can be burned, granting fire making XP determined by your level. Roots go down faster when all 4 are active, and roots respawn more slowly when 3 are active. Rewards now scale based off your farming and your woodcutting level, and spirit trees in the D&D tracker are more specific on where the tree will actually appear. The Leprechaun's log bagging magic now works instantly instead of just when the inventory is full, and it's now quicker to check the approximate health of said tree by simply examining it. Next up we got familiarization. It will now occur every 2 hours, so there's that, and the triple charm reward is now given by a consumable ticket, allowing you to choose when you want to use it, and you can only carry one of these at any given time. This is quite a nice little improvement, because I'm pretty sure it's 3 hours before, something like that. And additionally, being able to choose when the triple charm reward is going to be active by use of a ticket is quite a lot better than it just being active as soon as you finish. So you should be able to get more charms out of it overall. Next up we got Fish Flingers, another little minigame which I've barely done. Another trim requirement if you go for the stupid massive tackle box thing. The Barbarian Assault Fisherman is now found near Otto's Lake, close to the leaping fish spots. New rewards have been added. Each of these cost 100 tokens. The tackle box fish teleport limit reset. Fish Flinger's entry ticket. Note that the cap of 15 is still unchanged. And extra fish caught with each success for 20 minutes. Note that these stack with benefits from agility and the shark outfits. Next we got Goblin flash mobs. The D&D is now free to play. Non-degradable free to play level 55 combat gear has been added to the rewards. Good Raider Axe, good Raider Chain Body, and good Raider Shield. Resource rewards have been improved. Fair enough. Next you got Phoenix Lair, another thing which I'm pretty sure 99% of the community has probably never done. A new level 84 familiar has been added, has a chance to burn 2 logs at once when using bonfires, requires 2 Phoenix quills, uses the same scroll as the original Phoenix, invisible plus 12 fire making boost, whopping, and same quest restrictions as the original Phoenix familiar. Reborn mages no longer block movement, surge, barrage and escape are now allowed within, 10 quills can be paid to skip said fight, and the branch harvesting animation no longer causes a delay. Using unfletched twigs fletches them, and the cave exits lookout option has been replaced with a confirm box. Another one is the skeletal horror, which I didn't know existed until I actually went for comp. The XP reward now scales according to your Slayer and Prayer levels. Reset now occurs at the standard Wednesday weekly reset time. The skeleton champion scroll and Triskelion fragment have been added to the drop table. Always drops an elite clue scroll, which is always nice, and added to the D&D tracker just so you know it exists. There's also a new title which can be obtained known as The Distracted for anyone who tries out all D&D featured in the D&D tracker, and you can find out which you still need via the preview in the title interface. There we go, those are your D&D reworks. So next up we've got the Death rework. Many people don't like it, many people do like it, I for one do like it. Although I have no idea if they've tweaked it at all since the beta, so I'm going to go through all of this. So with your help in the beta, we've reworked Death's system, and there's now more freedom in how you reclaim your items and more leeway when things go wrong, while retaining the risk in your most dangerous adventures, which really kind of wrong because there's no danger if you die in the game at the moment. Either way, let's get on. So when you die, as long as you're not in the wilderness or in a safe area, the following applies. Items are now stored by Death when you die. You will look after them for 24 hours of in-game time. This persists across logouts, so disconnects are no longer a danger. You will respawn in his office. You will be able to claim back your items in exchange for money by sacrificing items eligible to be lost for their coin value, or a combination of the two using a new interface. Items that would have degraded on Death won't do so if reclaimed from Death's storage, as the penalty is now reflected by the buyback mechanic. If you choose not to reclaim the items from Death immediately, your gravestone will spawn when you leave his office. Gravestone timers have been reduced, but this will allow you to reclaim items using the degrade on Death mechanics you're used to. If you choose to try and get back to your gravestone and don't make it, Death will still be holding your items. You can return to Death within 24 hours in-game hours if you wish to claim some of your items back later. Be aware though that dying again will wipe the stored items. Only the items and equipment you were carrying during your most recent death will be stored. Note that existing mechanics for items kept on Death still apply. This includes extra item keeps with either your prayer or with the stupid little divination item, and similar effects including reductions for being skulled or being within a dangerous area on Death. Items you were holding when you died can no longer be picked up by other players. In the wilderness or within safe areas, none of the above applies. Death mechanics in PvP situations are the same as they've always been. You are fucked. That pretty much covers that. Let's skip that bit. The smaller tweaks are, you can now choose any gravestone appearance that you have unlocked. You will always get the benefits of the best one available to you, regardless of what you've chosen for their looks. And graves are now allowed in the Corporal Beast's lair. It's quite interesting. So just to go over it again, items are now stored as soon as you die with Death, and he'll hold them for 24 hours of in-game time. So if you died and you rage quit, the timer is still at 24 hours, and then if you come back for 3 hours and log out, you now have 21 hours left before you can get your items from Death. Simple as that. Additionally, you have the option to not straight away get all of your items from Death and leave Death's portal. If you leave Death's portal, your grave will still be there where you died originally. So let's say you go and poke DKs. Let's say DKs. You poke DKs, you die, you go to Death, and you're like, ah, bollocks. You log out, you come back later, it's still at 24 hours before you can get all your stuff from Death. Your grave, as soon as you leave Death's lair, will be in the DK's lair, and it'll only be visible to you as far as I know. Probably not though. I'm assuming people will probably still bless it, but they won't be able to pick any items up, so there's no reason for people not to bless it now. You will have a limited time to get back to your grave, same as usual, but the time compared to previously to this update is quite a chunk less. So instead of it being, let's say, 20 minutes, it'll be probably 5 or something like that. I haven't actually logged in or died yet to confirm this, so I'm going on random numbers just so you understand. If you don't get up there within time, no worries, you can still get your items, but death has all of them. So you will have to pay to get your items back. In essence, all they've really done is lessened the amount of time the grave timers will stay up, prevented people from picking up your items when you die if your grave just dismantles, and as a backup to your death now, you can still get your items from death for 24 hours of in-game time, even after your grave has destroyed itself. But you will have to pay to get your items back. That is in essence the death rework. Hopefully that made sense. But yeah, from what I can remember, once upon a time ago when I covered it, it was something along the lines of at a maximum of 10% of all of your items values is how much it would cost for you to buy your items back. Depending on the sheer level of items, so for example if you was rocking like every single tier 90 weapon, it wouldn't be 10% of every single tier 90 weapon, it'd be less again, and then you could lower it again with, I think it was Portents of Respite or something like that, and then depending on what grave and stuff you had. So there are ways to lessen the sheer amount of cash it will cost you to buy your items back on death, but the grave is still there, so depending on how long the graves last, well, it depends on if this death rework actually has any use whatsoever. Next on the line is prismatic dyes in the SALMON store. If you're looking for the perfect shade of purple or an exceptionally eye-catching archer, do you believe that's archer? Prismatic dyes are for you. You will find 8 new colour slots on the recolor interface for compatible cosmetic override outfits. Each dye you purchase lets you set a specific colour for one of these slots, chosen from your colour wheel. In essence, the wheel you get when you're messing about with the max comp cape. I assume that's what these prismatic dyes do, and you can use them on a specific item in your cosmetic override outfits to change the colours specifically to what you want. There we go. Be obtained by rune coins or bonds, same as usual. Streaming is a thing, so developer Q&A at 4 game time today. Pretty much too late for that. Additionally, you've got the Tusker community stream, which is down at 8, so that'll be up in just a bit, I expect, by the time this gets uploaded. And Clue Scroll highlights of 10,000 elite Clue Scrolls being opened. That's also going to be in the stream, so you can have a little gander if you're curious. And that's pretty much it. The other thing worth mentioning is the special summer membership offer. This is a fantastic 3-month membership offer, and it'll cover you for this summer's red hot RuneScape content. And they've got some information about what's coming out, so kind of surprising to be honest. Tusker, so the Tusker event's a thing. Yeah, fair enough, whatever. There's a Grandmaster quest coming, and it's all about Seren, putting Seren back together again, because Proof of Thinness is now a thing, and apparently we're going to be helping the Elven kind hunt down Seren's crystals and recreate her. Additionally, raids, which is going to be a brand new thing altogether. On top of that, you'll gain access to the Alignment Aura, which will double your XP gain for an hour each week throughout the summer months, and displays a spectacular little bit of a wing effect, which I assume is what these things are. You'll also gain the benefit from Cosmetic Foresight, the summer-long passive effect that lets you gather reputation for the Go homeworld, or Gobi. Pretty sure it's Gobi. You've probably never heard of them, maybe not, but this is going to be with the new raids. So, yeah, I would highly recommend checking out the front page and checking out this little video here, as it does go through it. Kind of covers what's coming out, so putting Seren back together again, so gather the Sharon Slards. There's also new raids coming in, as well as being able to go to different worlds, putting some stuff back together again. You got the Gobi things as well, which has got all new bosses. Additionally, you go to the Kethsea homeworld, which, if you don't know any lore at all, is Dragonkin land, and apparently there's some mega bosses there and some new weapons and stuff as well. And yeah, so there you go, raids, simples. There's quite a lot of stuff apparently. Also, they're going to be adding some kind of beach thing. They did vaguely mention it. It's going to look something like that. You go there, bosses randomly spawn, there's some activities going on, divination, some other fishing, cooking, I don't know. There's a bunch of shit, basically. So Tusker is the thing, collect the Seren Shards, the raids, you can travel to Mazcab, the Monster Ravish homeworld of the Gobbies, and you can claim high level loot in an epic 10-man boss battle on the Strange New World. So yeah, apparently it's going to be bigger than Proof of Thinness. But with that, they did mention the Kethsea, as I said, so that's a thing as well. And they're going to have fast loading on teleports and some other things. some stuff. And basically you can buy this 3-month membership with 5 bonds, I do believe, so if you can't be asked to spend money, buy a couple of bonds. Job done. Simple as that. Note that Gold Premium members, and those of you who held 12 consecutive months of membership as of today, will get the Enlightenment Aura and Cosmetic Foresight automatically at no additional cost, so there's no worries there. So 3 months membership, 5 bonds, job's a good one. Tusker, stuff, raids, Saren, Grandmaster Quest, who's your daddy? Job done. Last but not least, we got patch notes. So graphic wise, the inventory icon for Dragon Trinkets has been repositioned as per player feedback. A small graphical issue with Stanley Limelight's breach has been fixed. An issue with Stanley Limelight's minigame amulet deformance has been fixed. A small issue with a checkbox that was not aligned correctly on the seed aside settings interface has been fixed. Moving on to your skills and minigames. The Prawn Broker Featherless Fishing perk will now only allow one type of feather to be overridden at a time, to prevent unwanted extra clicks when fly fishing. This can be toggled at the Prawn Broker. The Stealing Creation reward shop now shows the correct prices, which is always a good thing. The Hobgoblin Champion can now be attacked with range. Player killers achieved with range or magic combat will now correctly count towards the game results in Castle Wars. Moving on to your quests and achievements, completing a treasure trail at the Zamorak God's Emissary will no longer continue into his regular chat, which previously interrupted the rewards interface. Moving on to your miscellaneous goodness. The Explorer's Aura will now reactivate correctly when logging out and in near a bank with the aura activated. As such, the portal will now spawn in the immediate vicinity of the player. The Explorer's Aura will now recharge at midnight UTC like other daily use auras. Players with their private chat switched off will now broadcast their rare drops to players in their immediate vicinity to prevent bossing groups from being scammed. Metamorphosis and Berserk will now be disabled, or disable themselves when entering combat against another player within the wilderness. The Cleave ability will now work if the player needs to turn to face their target. Players will no longer receive a road trip lamp upon completing a quest in New Varrock. It will now be held by the... Start again, son. Players will no longer receive a road trip lamp upon completing a quest within New Varrock. It will now be held by the challenge mistresses. An issue where boosting magic accuracy to extreme values was displaying incorrectly in the stat adjustment panel of the prayer interface has been resolved. Detaching a hooded skill cape without a free inventory space will now give the correct message. Unnecessary force walk tiles north of the Cabbage Face Punch Melange has been removed. Altered the spawning mechanics of Chaos Dwarfs in the Taverley Dungeon to prevent too many dwarfs spawning. It is no longer possible to repeatedly send Capoeira emote invites to another player. Fair enough. Brawling Gloves dropped by the elves in Privdinus will now be fully charged. Players can no longer deposit or withdraw items from legendary pets that have the Beast of Burden ability activated whilst they're within PvP areas. Seedicide will now break down tree seeds correctly, and Seedicide will now break down seeds that the players do not have the required farming level for without awarding the usual XP for doing so. I'm seriously dying here. Ninja fixes. Player-owned house servants will now no longer get stuck when following players. Offhand Blurite swords may now be stored in keepsake boxes. Players may now upgrade the machete on their tool belt with gem-bladed machetes. The Seed Dibber icon on the tool belt has been updated to match the recently updated inventory model. The action bar will no longer be minimised during port's random events. Pillars around Morvrun have been altered and some blocking removed, allowing players to speak to him without having to run around the outer edge. Implants can now be caught in Purapuro with a sheathed butterfly net. Players can now check their completionist cape and trimmed comp cape requirements under the Heroes tab, along with a toggle to hide completed requirements. An offhand Armadillo crossbow has been added to Commander Ziliana's drop table. About fucking time, no? Armadillo crossbows are now level 75 to be consistent with all other God Wars weapons to top it off. Stepping stones have been added south of Taverley Bank as a shortcut to the Taverley Dungeon. Job's a good one. That, all in all, is pretty much it. So your D&D stuff has been tweaked slightly, so familiarization, fish flingers, evil tree, court cases, champion challenge, Bork, goblin flash mobs, and the Phoenix Lair, as well as the skeletal horror, has now been added to the D&D tracker, and they've all been modified just a touch, so they're a little bit better. Some new titles as well, so all good. And then we got all the death rework, which technically isn't really a rework, they just tacked on some more stuff to it and changed it slightly. But there we go. Additionally, you got the 3 months membership thingy with all the new stuff, and a little sneak preview of what's coming out over the past 3 months. And that's Tusker, Grandmaster Quest 7, and additionally raiding new worlds. I dare suspect it might include the World Gate. At least that's my theory. That's the only thing that makes sense. And they can be bought with 5 bonds, so win-win. Additionally, there's some old school RuneScape stuff there, but since I don't play it, I don't particularly care. And that is pretty much it. So it's been a while, you've now been updated, and you should now know what's going on. So yeah, all good. Till next time, people, I'll catch you all later. Have a good one.